Hey, this is Chris Gore. You're listening to Dr. Gonzo Radio on Dr. Gonzo Piqua something.com. I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
Yeah, we'll have Zach. I'll have Zach do the next bumper.
So, hey, Dr. Gonzo's here.
Put a dime in him, you gotta let the whole song play out.
He's like human jukebox.
Oh, he's a talker, ain't he?
He's an old fat grandpa man.
Our parents were the greatest generation. Our dads went overseas to fight a war. As soon as they came back, they grabbed our moms and hit the sack, and there they stayed from 1946 to 64, making babies.
Lots of babies.
The baby boomers.
76 million.
And we grew older, but we're not dead yet.
Hail to the king, baby.
What's up, man? Welcome to Sneaking in the Movies. My name is Speed, and this is my homeboy, Tyrone. And we are like movie critics and shit. Well, not really. Peep this. Each week, me and my boy, you know, we go to different theaters and stuff and sneak in and check out the movie. Then we come back and tell y'all what's up. Like if y'all should pay money and shit.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, a little Robert Townsend there. A little joke there. Robert Townsend, great comedian. So, hey, this is Dr. Gonzo, and I'm going to talk a little bit shortly, try not to be too long-winded, on yacht rock. And how am I qualified to talk about yacht rock? Well, I am because I'm a lifelong musician. Let me bore you with my origin story here. Here's me and Alex Acuna. We actually recorded an album for the troops overseas at Alex's house in Van Nuys some years ago. And we had a great time out there, had the best of the best in the business recording out there. Here's a picture of me and Melissa Manchester at a gig in Sydney, Ohio. Here is more LA recording. There's Steve Camp in there, Christian artist Justo Armario, great saxophone player. We had him in on that session. Here's me in Nashville, and with Dave Cleveland, bunch of other pros. Here is me and actually in East West Studio. I think this was Studio 2. When Alex and I were recording, he took me on a field trip to some Disney type of stuff there. So I have a long history of playing music. Here's me back in the days. It's probably why my knees have given out. I used to leap over my drum set and do all that kind of stuff out there. So lifelong musician. And now what am I? I'm a janitor. That's right. But hey, I'm not ashamed of that. It keeps a roof over my head. I do not make any money off my YouTube channel because my work and my music. I still playing New Year's Eve this year. So I wanted to talk about yacht rock, and yacht rock was conceived around 2005, and I think they made it around these comedy skits, and you can find them on YouTube, Yacht Rock, where they parody Kenny Loggins. Wow, they got a parody now with his why is everybody getting plastic surgery these days? But Kenny Loggins looks awful. Still great artist, wonderful stuff. The problem, here's the yacht rock origins, as they put it out there. Origins of yacht rock can be traced to the late 70s and early 80s, with a smooth blend of rock, jazz, and R&B became popular. The term yacht rock was coined in 2005 by J.D. Reisner and friends. Their online series of the same name. The term was meant to describe music of artists like Michael McDonald, Fagan. Of course, when they called Fagan, there's a documentary on Max called Yacht Rock, and it shows all these guys and their goofy little. They're 5-minute segments. So I think what they did is they created these comedy segments, and they kind of worked around. They built Yacht Rock around that because the songs that they call Yacht Rock are not at all easy listening. Not all of them are easy listening. Here's a couple of the guys who created Yacht Rock: Hunter Stare, and there's a screenshot of Yacht Rock. Real funny skits, really funny skits. And I thought I'd never heard the term. As long as I've been in music, I hadn't heard the term until I saw this rockumentary. Also, on a stray path here, what's his name? Rick Beato, who's really a great musician. He does like a 10-minute segment exposing this Yacht Rock because, again, they try to make it as easy listening, but it's not easy. They kind of lump everything from the 70s and 80s, Doobie Brothers, Toto, Larry Carlton, who was fusion. So a lot of fusion is lumped in on here incorrectly, shall I say. And but I did a segment on Gonzo Radio, GonzoRadioPiqua.com on the internet because I actually sail. So I thought, oh, Yacht Rock must be a thing. It really is not a thing. It's a self-created thing. And there's another screenshot of their channel. That's JD Reisner and what's the other guy's name? Hunter, not Hunter Thompson. But anyway, Yacht Rock is not what it seems. The term Yacht Rock is built around these guys' skits from back in the day when we used to have a sense of humor. Remember those days when you could call a dwarf a dwarf? Not to get sidetracked, but I like the skits because I'm 67. So I used to listen to Fire Sign Theater, and they had one album that was titled Don't Step on the Dwarf or Get the Pliers. And Dwarf is like, I like the skits because I really liked Fire Sign Theater back in the day. We're talking late 60s, early 70s. I'm 67 years old. And that's BM, not bowel movement, but before millennials got all butthurt. And they can fill out a butthurt report if they want to. One of the main proponents in all of this, too, on a side note, was Peter Dinklage. And he's the one that caused the CGI dwarfs in Snow White to not be played by real dwarfs. Dwarfism is an actual deal. It's not something we made up. And how did Peter Dinklage make his money?
I'm guilty of a far more monstrous crime. I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
You're not on trial for being a dwarf.
Oh, yes, I am. I've been on trial for that my entire life.
Okay, so I took some notes on the rockumentary. 2005, Yacht Rock came from a comedy show trying to shove music into a box that can't hold it. I mean, they're all over the place. They put Steely Dan and Toto, and that one shot that I showed you guys, that was in East West Studios right there. I was there with Luis Conte, Machito Sanchez, and Richie Garcia. That was Studio 2. Disney does a lot of recording there. It's I think Bill Putnam created that studio. Everything's My old friend Hal Blaine has recorded a ton of hits there, and a lot of stuff has been recorded there, but as well as Toto stuff. But you don't lump Toto and Steely Dan. I've been listening to this music. Steely Dan was jazz fusion, and when they called up Donald Fagen to be in the documentary, Donald Fagen told him to F off, properly so. Now, Christopher Cross was in the documentary, and the thing is, Christopher Cross did have some soft rock, but he's a shredder of a guitar player. In 1970, just for one gig, Christopher Cross sat in for Ritchie Blackmore in Deep Purple. That's a fact. Listen to Ride Like a Wind. Listen to the guitar outro. That's Christopher Cross. So they took all of this kind of music, put on some funky hats. Again, the web series is on YouTube. Yacht Rock is where they're 5-minute segments. They're funny as hell, and they make fun of the Doobies, Michael McDonald, Kenny, of course, and Jim Messina, their breakup, bringing Van Halen into the mix in the late 70s, early 80s. But Van Halen for sure is not yacht rock. I was listening to stuff in high school to tell you how old this music is. Katie Lied. They talk a lot about that. The weird thing about the documentaries, they didn't mention a guy I've met before and been to his studio, Bill Schnee. That's where he was called the Golden Ears of Sound. Great engineer and had his own studio. And that's where Asia was recorded. They don't even mention Asia in the mix, of course. And back in the day, I guess, okay, so what do we call this music that they called yacht rock for the purpose of this documentary and their web series? Well, we would have called it West Coast music. FM radio was the proper thing to call it, because when Steely Dan and a lot of this music, Toto especially, first broke out, AM radio stations would not play it. So the FM radio stations would play it. And I played with Gary Lewis and the Playboys for a matter of years. And I don't know what you would have called that, pussy rock, maybe pop rock. Everything in the 60s, that was more poppy, I guess. And again, the problem is they're trying to lump a bunch of different music into one box that doesn't hold it. So what's the bottom line? Watch Yacht Rock. Watch the web series on YouTube, and the documentary was pretty good. I don't agree with the conclusions they came to. And again, Rick Beato, I'll put a link to his very concise 10-minute review on the documentary below for your listening entertainment. Okay, well, that's pretty much it. Yacht rock is not a thing. It's a made-up thing, and for the purposes of their comedy show, and hey, people have to make money. I don't have any problem with it at all. The music is not yacht rock, but let's have some fun with it.
Hail to the king, baby.
What the hell are you two doing? That's called rocking out. You wouldn't understand, Dad. You're not with it. I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
And this is Dr. Gonzo for all you baby boomers. Hey, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you right around the corner.
Hi, my favourite DJ, Dr. Gonzo, is on the air right now. Dr. Gonzo is live Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The doctor knows what you need. The true classic hits of the 60s, 70s and 80s. So tune in to gonzoradiopeakwa.com 24/7. Buy the ticket and take the ride, because that's just what the doctor ordered. Tune in worldwide on the internet of Spotify.